All right, and welcome back to part one, which is pattern recognition. So let's quickly go over what we're going to cover in this video and then jump right in. So for pattern recognition, we're going to essentially use pattern recognition in how to find a product. Also, how to find a niche and a secret sauce which ties those two together and allows you to essentially get some information or utilize some information in really creating or finding a product in a niche that has a high probability of success. Something that most videos, most courses out there do not cover at all. It's almost like a other half of the coin that usually doesn't get covered, and it's a very important part as well. And 7 tells that allow you to find a high probability product. And what that means is essentially to find a product that has a very high probability of becoming the product and the niche that you will be working with in order to build a profitable business. So, without further delay, let's actually jump into this process and see how it works. And the first thing we're going to do is jump over to a website called watchcount.com. Watchcount.com is essentially a website that allows you to shorten the curve of looking for the product that you want to test out to start with and just get you started to begin with, because eBay has millions of products, thousands of niches and sub-niches. So where do you really get started? Watchcount.com essentially allows you to do exactly that, give you a head start and a very quick one at that. So how does this really work? Essentially, you can put in keywords or search by a category, and WatchCount will show you some of the most popular products on eBay. Now, what does that really mean? Well, let's actually dive in and find out more about that. So, to start with, I'm going to use something like, sunglasses as the keyword. Now, again, sunglasses is just an example that I just came up with. You can, of course, type in anything you want. And as we go along, I'll share with you some of the reasons why this would be a great way to start. Watchcount.com, that is. So once we look for a specific keyword, for example, sunglasses, we, of course, get a whole list of products that are being sold on eBay right now. Now, these are matched by and essentially sorted right now by the watch count. What is a watch count? It's how many people are watching this specific item on eBay. And you can also get some of other information that the watchcount.com shares on this page. You can see the past sales. You can see if it's free shipping or if there's another price. You can see the price of the item and when it's going to be expiring. And that will allow you to really sort things through and start off in a very quick way. So before we move on, I wanted to share a little bit of the secret sauce that I've alluded to earlier. And essentially, there's a lot of courses, a lot of videos, a lot of information how to find a niche or how to look for one. Now, to give you a bit of an overview and to jump ahead of a little bit, but this is for the purposes of really explaining what I'm about to explain, I want to tell you that this course is going to be all about how to find a product, how to resell that product at a profit. And of course, in order to do that, you will need to generate traffic or eyeballs that will see the product and be interested enough to buy this product. Of course, this has to be a good match. The product has to match the interested parties. And the way that we're going to be teaching you and the way that we're going to be sharing with you is the same way that we do it today in our business, which is utilizing Facebook advertising. Now, when you use Facebook advertisement, whether you're advanced or complete newbie, you should know, or you already know, that targeting is essentially a very big part of it. Where and to whom you're sharing and promoting your product to is essentially the whole secret behind Facebook advertising. When you bring a product in front of the matching consumer, if you will, or interested parties, you will have sales. You just need to make sure to bring it to a group or a subsector of the population that's interested in what it is that you're selling. Now, when it comes to something like sunglasses, and specifically this particular product, you could see that these are retro classic designer sunglasses for women. Now, this is where you immediately need to segregate certain products as products that you're not going to be using or selling as part of this e-commerce arbitrage. And let me tell you why. Because when you're looking to target a product to a a specific group, the broader that group, for example, women who like shopping, the less success you're going to have. What you really need to look for is something a little bit more of a niche or a sub-niche or a subgroup or a sector of the population that's a little less broad than, for example, women who like shopping. Now, between the first and the second item that we're seeing here, we see that this is something that applies to women who like to buy glasses, for example, or sunglasses, where the second item is specific to cycling or cyclists. Now, that is a much more interesting product because now we found some sub-niche or subgroup of the population which is very specific. They're into cycling and they need all kinds of gear for that for that sport, and this is a great way to start and a great product to test because this is not general. It belongs to a very specific group of people. So as we go scroll down here, you could see that we have men's glasses somewhere. Here we go. We have more cycling. We have, I am sure, some other types of glasses, such as wireless, spy. So all these are kind of subgroups, so some sub-niches. Whatever is more interesting to you is something that you should go with. I will start with this one because it's number 2 on the list, meaning there's a lot of watchers. There's a lot of past sales, as you can see here, and this is just a great way to start. Now, before we dive into this specific product, I also want to mention that, of course, there's many other considerations that you should have in your head or in your mind when you're considering a product. One of those things is essentially not a standalone product. Now, I've just touched a little bit about this in a way that this is a cycling product, which is great. It's part of a cycling subculture, if you will. Now, if I was talking about maybe Selfie Stick, which is sort of a standalone product, I don't think there is a whole subculture, or at least not in the way that cycling is, for example, that you can build around and sell additional similar items to people in a selfie stick as you can do in a cycling niche. And this also applies, of course, to things like dogs, for example, or any other niche or sub-niche out there, such as, for example, survival or camping. Because when you look for a product that applies to dogs, for example, as this dog leash, you can go ahead and target many different dog breeds, which will allow you to really grow and scale quickly. Meaning, once a certain product in the dog niche really works for pit bulls, for example, it may apply to other dog breeds. Same goes to, for example, survival gear or camping. Essentially, if you can sell a tent to somebody who likes camping, you can probably sell them a knife or whatever the case may be, because there's a whole slew of products that they use. And that's something that you should be considering strongly and when you look for a product. So essentially, when we look for something like sunglasses for cyclists, we have several things that are going for us, just like they would be, for example, in dogs or camping or survival niche. We have a whole group of people that wear a whole slew of products, or buy, not necessarily wear, but utilize and buy a whole slew of products that we can sell to them. So we can grow and scale our business. These are the fundamentals that will allow you to essentially increase the probability of a product that is going to bring you success. So this is just kind of the early stages of picking a product, and you should keep these things in mind. So as we dive into this product, it takes us to eBay and specifically to the details of this specific product and the eBay seller that offers this product. Now, here we have more tells about this product that we can collect. One of them is the fact that it's deemed by eBay as hot. It sold 2 in the last hour, and I'm guessing there's more information about it that we're not seeing here, something like sold a dozen, for example, over the last 24 hours. Now, while you're not seeing it here, you will be seeing it, or can look this information up in a different section. We'll get to that in a moment. The next thing is, how many options does this seller have? Why? Because when we're going to be reselling this item, for example, we want to know if this seller has one option in black, or maybe they have many different colors. Now, obviously, that gives us more ways to attract buyers, which of course allows us to scale and to build a business faster. So this is something to keep in mind. Now, another tell that you should be looking for is this right here. It says more than 10 available. And of course you would need something like this, or if they show a specific quantity. The idea is that you do not want to be in a situation where a seller has few available to sell, because once you start reselling, you might hit a nerve, so to speak, and people will be buying from you left and right. You don't want to come back to the seller and essentially find him only having one left or zero left, and you have so many orders to fill, and now you have to run around the internet, so look for this similar product or the exact same product, maybe even overpay just to fill the order. So this is very important. The other number to watch is how many sold since the beginning of this auction. Essentially, this is the total items sold. The bigger this number, of course, the better. But you can also click on this and be taken to a page where the number of sales shown per date are, of course, shown to you. So you can see that a bunch of them sold on the 29th, even more on the 28th, and you can actually see how many sold in the last 24 hours. And this is something that you should certainly consider. Now, the next thing is how many feedbacks does the seller have, and the percentage of positive feedback that he has from all the sales. Keeping in mind that about 70% of buyers do not leave feedback, this number, which is pretty large, it only represents about 30% of the transactions from this buyer, from this seller, from his store. Which, again, at 99.3% positive feedback and a pretty large number altogether, you know that this is somebody who's been dealing with buyers and sellers, or buyers, I should say, for a very long time. So he's probably very well versed in all kinds of ideas and all kinds of situations, and that's a good thing for you, because you'll be basically engaging with him and bringing him on board as your partner or somebody you're buying from. So the bigger the number of positive feedbacks and the higher the percentage, the better it is for you. The next thing, of course, is to look at the shipping price, because that's going to be the cost. Your price of the item and the cost for shipping is going to be the cost for this product. A very important number to keep in mind, because when you're selling, you need to know what your cost is, so that when you're selling at a profit, you know exactly what that's going to be all about. Now, the next part is to see where this item is coming from. In this specific case, this item is coming from China, and it's estimated to be delivered between April 8th and April 22nd. Now, we're recording this video at about March 29th, which means that at the longer end of this delivery window, it's almost a month that this item may take to be delivered. And that's, of course, a big, big deal breaker. Just because everything else matches in this particular, all the other tells are very good, and this is a really good product to start with, this alone is a deal breaker, because you do not want a product to be delivered a month after you sold it to your customer, and preferably without it having to come in a package that says it came from China. So, is this a waste of time? Absolutely not. What we've just found is a fantastic niche, a fantastic product in this niche, and we can utilize this seller, even though he's from China, to see what else he's selling in the store, to get ideas for the items that this niche is basically consuming, what the buyers are buying, and that gives us a great amount of information, because now we can look for all these products as we grow and scale. But just to get started, all we need to do is come back to the watchcount.com website, come back to this listing, and click on See Similar Lists or Listings on eBay. What that's going to do is essentially open up similar listings. And if in this case it actually opened up the exact same, so we can use this right here on top to go to eBay's category of sunglasses, and then click on cycling sunglasses. Then simply sort everything by buy it now, by clicking the buy it now button, because we're not looking for auctions. We want something that's available to be purchased today, so we don't have to wait for 7 days or 13 days. And then all we have to do is scroll down and click on US only. That way we're only dealing with US sellers and shippers. And then we will just simply look for the best possible match in this niche. And if we actually click on sunglasses that are polarized, and again go for US only, we'll see a list of US buyers of the US sellers of a very similar product. Now, as you can see here, 198 sold, so we can go inside this product and the details and see that this is also a fairly popular product. 198 sold. This is a buyer with a lot of feedback. He has more than 10 available. His price is $13.94, which is quite similar to the seller from China, whose price was $9.98 plus $2.98 shipping and handling, which puts us at about this price range. And he is from California, United States, so everything is great. So now we have a product that we know the people who are interested in cycling sport are interested in. We have a product which is shipped from United States. We have a product which a seller has a lot of, and this is a great way to start. All the tells are kind of matching, even though this specific sunglasses do not have as much transactions as the seller from China. It is still a very similar product and allows us to get started with this. Or we can go to eBay and keep searching for sunglasses that are lower in price, that have more sold. So here's 244 sold. He has a lot more options in terms of colors and the price, which starts at $815. So we can do our research in that way and look for a product, again, very similar, and which will allow us to ship it to the buyers of ours in a very quick way, not something that takes a month or so. So this gives you a overview and information as to how to look for products. Now again, this doesn't have to be sunglasses. We can go back to dogs, and we can go back to again, camping. These are just the two niches that keep coming to my mind, and start our search back on watchcount.com and do the same exact research, keeping in mind the fact that we're looking for a sub niche or a subculture or a group of some kind, keeping in mind that, in the case of dogs, for example, it will allow us to scale and grow because we have all these breeds. In the case of sports, for example, we have many different teams. So if we find a product that works really well with one team, we can easily scale and grow our business without having to come up with another product by simply offering it to a different team, or in the case of dogs, to a different breed. So we need to keep those things in mind, as well as the fact that we will be targeting specific groups. And when those things match together or kind of come together, in addition with a product that you find by a seller from the United States, for example, there you have a high probability product. And those are the things that essentially cover pattern recognition. We look for these patterns, we look for these specific tells in order to find a high probability product that we will be taking and reselling to a subgroup that we already know are interested, with a product that we already know is hot, and we use these patterns to build our business from scratch. And that's pattern recognition part of this formula. Now, in the next video, we'll cover what pattern utilization is, which is the second part of the formula, and how to utilize it in this e-commerce arbitrage towards building a successful business. So I'll see you in the next video.